Yo, what's up guys? We're back on Pokemon Showdown for my team builder for week 5 of the PMC D-League. We are facing the Detroit Solgaleos this week and their coach Roshan, I believe that's his name. And we built a pretty fun, pretty balanced team for him. As you can see, his roster consists of Mega Diancie, Rotom Wash, Staraptor, Excadrill, Entei, Umbreon, Nidoqueen, Druddigon, Mismagius, Galvantula, and Regice. Or Regice, I don't know. Looking at this team, I don't think there are too many threats, but there is a mon that my team absolutely does not enjoy dealing with, and that's Staraptor. A banded Staraptor, 2-hit KOs anything on my team. OHKOs most stuff like my Amoonguss, my Cobalion, most of the time, my Mega Lopunny, my Landorus. It basically deals heavy damage to any member of my team, and it's gonna be really hard to play around it, but I think I found a way to make sure I don't get swept by a Scarfed or banned Staraptor. I expect him to bring Scarf, to be honest, because otherwise my Mega Lopunny would just OHKO it with a combination of Fake Out and High Jump Kick or Return. So he probably has to bring Scarf, and that's why I bring my Everluck SCC to deal with that variant. Another big threat on his team is the Entei, which can is kinda walled by my Slowking, but with a pretty heat set with Sunny Day Solar Beam could pretty much run through my team, so I have to make sure that this does not happen, and I have to spore it or T-Wave it with my Slowking, or just kill it before it can really set up a Sunny Day or something. But I expect him to bring Bandit or maybe Assault Vest or something, but if he brings it's probably Bandit. I don't think he will think of modest Entei with Solar Beam and shit like that. Another big threat on his team is, in my opinion, the Nidoqueen, which with a Life Orb variant it can beat the majority of my team, but I think my Walco, as you see, I'm bringing Amoonguss and Slowking. I think they can deal pretty well with it, and yeah, other stuff on my team can basically revenge kill it if it is a Scarf variant or a slower, bulkier variant. That should not be a big problem. I don't know what else he is gonna bring. I think he's gonna bring Galvantula and Sticky Webs, because webs are pretty good versus my team, and I don't have the best hazard control. I only have Golbat and Everluck. So I probably expect the Galvantula. I don't know what else he's bringing. Maybe a Mismagius, maybe the Druddigon to get fake rough skin damage on my Lopunny when it's going for Fake Out. Maybe a Rotom Wash, which is his only decent check or counter or switch into Mega Lopunny, even though I can 2-hit KO it with the High Jump Kick. But yeah, that's basically it. He has to play around Lopunny really well to have a shot at winning, I think. I don't think he's bringing Mega Diancie because it's not good against my team. I have 3 poison types, which all of which can kinda wall it or beat it 1v1, and yeah, I'm not sure if he's bringing Excadrill either. He should, because I've shown in the past that I like my hazards and my spikes and my Start Rock on my opponent's side of the field, so he should bring hazard control, especially if he brings Staraptor and Entei, but I'm not sure if he'll do it. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect. He brought a pretty fun team last week versus the Kansas City Kakunas, where he brought a sub-toxic Excadrill, which was pretty fun, and a Yachi Berry Rotom Wash to deal with the Freeze Drive for Mamoswine. I thought that was pretty cool, but I really think I have the matchup advantage here, even though Staraptor and Entei can be potential threats that could eventually sweep my team in the late game if I allow him to weaken my Walcott to a point where one of those can clean up, which I don't want to happen, and I probably can play around it just because I have the Regenerator and recovery on most of my Walcott, so that shouldn't be a problem. So the first mon I decided to bring was my Amoonguss, because Amoonguss walls basically his entire team besides Entei and Staraptor. It can take, with the spread I have, it can take 2 Diamond Storms from non-adamant, non-max attack Mega Diancie, and I doubt he'll bring that because he has to bring like, if he brings it, he has to bring like a native nature with like mostly special attack, otherwise he cannot kill my Mega Lopunny or my Cobalion with like Earth Power or Moonblast, so he has to bring like maybe some physical investment, but not a lot. And yeah, it can deal with the Excadrill if it's like Adamant Scarf variant. I can take 2 Earthquakes easily with my Amoonguss with the Black Sludge from full, so that shouldn't be a threat. I can take 2 modest Earth Powers from Nidoqueen, I believe, after the Black Sludge recovery. I can take easily 1 Ice Beam from Nidoqueen, and it's like not a problem. Also, as you can see, he doesn't have a Grass type on his team, so the Spore which I have will come in handy. He doesn't really have Spore fodder, in my opinion. He could bring like a Safety Goggles-mon or like a Sleep Talk Banded Entei, which would make sense to absorb the Spore from Amoonguss and to deal like solid damage back, because it's like a pretty good switch into Amoonguss anyway, because Amoonguss cannot touch it at all with the Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb. It's also a nice check to Rotom Wash, which cannot touch me at all. The best thing Roshan could do to my Amoonguss would be tricking him a Choice Scarf or something, but I will definitely scout for that early game to see if he has like leftovers or something. And yeah, this mon can potentially put in a lot of work. It is a great check to stuff like Galvantula, to Mismagius if it doesn't pack the Psychic, but I have another counter or check to Mismagius anyway. It doesn't like dealing with the Regice, but I think it can take like 1 Ice Beam. I didn't calc it, but it's not my switch in anyway, and I doubt he'll bring Regice versus me. And yeah, the combination of Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb allows me to basically hit anything on his team for neutral damage, and like with the Foul Play, I have another option to hit like Excadrill or Entei harder than I would do with one of my steps, because Foul Play to an Adamant Excadrill does like 50 to 60%, I believe, and is an easy to hit KO after rocks, even if he's like slightly invested. It also does like 40% or 35% to the Entei, which can always be nice, especially if I have rocks up and I put it asleep earlier in the game. That could definitely be helpful. I also think that Foul Play hits the Druddigon harder depending on his set, but Druddigon isn't really a problem with when you look at the rest of my team. I can easily deal with that. So I expect Amoonguss to stay around for a long time in the game if I can keep it healthy with the Black Sludge and Regenerator. I can fire off some Spores to like make someone's useless for a turn or two, to like pave the way for my Lando Eye or my Lopunny to sweep. Next up in my wall core, I have my Slowking, packing the leftovers this week, no Assault Vest, and this thing is my main answer to the Entei. I don't really have a great switch into it besides the Slowking, and with physically defensive spread, but with the Calm Nature, I'm like guaranteed the maximum bulk I can get with this thing. I can easily take 2 Banded Adamant Sacred Fires from Entei, even 2 Banded Flare Blitzes after rocks. I'm pretty sure I can fire back with a Scald or a T-Wave to make it kinda useless. And yeah, I have Slack Off obviously for recovery, because I don't want this mon to die, because it's one of the few things that's not OHKO'd by a Banded Staraptor. So yeah, I have to keep this mon healthy as well as my Amoonguss, but that shouldn't be a problem with Slack Off, Leftovers, Anti-Regenerator. It's really hard to take down. This mon is sadly easily checked or countered by Rotom, because I don't pack the Psyshock this week, because I need Ice Beam in my opinion to deal with this Staraptor better, as well as the Druddigon, which like I don't want it to glare half of my team or something, so I want to deal with it like early before it can like wreak havoc on my team. It can be a pretty annoying mon, especially when it's like when it's running the Glare Stealth Rock set. It's a pretty reliable rocker in my opinion, and yeah, it could do some work. So I want my Walker to be able to deal with the thing. With the spread, also can easily take like a Thunder from a timid non-life orb Galvantula, or even the timid life orb Galvantula. I think it only has like a 6% chance to knock me out with a Thunder, so I can always bank on the Slowking to take it. I don't think he has anything on his team that can Oko me. I'm pretty sure, unless it's like a Specs Galvantula or a Specs Rotom or shit like that. This thing is also my main switch in for the Nidoqueen, should he bring it, because I can easily take 2 Sludge Waves from full with the leftovers. I think a modest Life Orb Sludge Wave does 51% max, and with the leftovers I can easily take 2. Yeah, keeping rocks off the field is a priority for me, because otherwise Nidoqueen could like come in and deal with my Walker very well, but I think I can play around it and revenge it with my other mons. So yeah, Amoonguss Slowking is a really annoying core for my opponent this week, I feel, because like the wall, basically his entire team, besides the Staraptor, the combination of these two is like too good versus him. I have to bring them, and he probably knows it, so I wonder if he has like some tricks up his sleeve, but he's gonna have a hard time figuring out how to deal with both of them. Next up, making the season debut, is my Everluck, packing the Rocky Helmet, and you probably know when you see the spread that this thing is my main answer to the Staraptor. Sadly, even with 184 defense and 95 HP, I cannot lift 2 Brave Birds or 2 close combats from an Adamant Bandit Staraptor. It's like incredible how hard this thing hits. Like, Everluck is like a premier defensive wall, besides his terrible typing, and even this thing is 2-hit killed by Staraptor, which really sucks. But I really, as I said, I really expect him to bring a Scarfed Adamant Staraptor to outspeed my Lopunny or my Landorus or even my Cobalion, which I have on my team. So yeah, I don't think he will bring Bannet. And to be honest, the main thing I have to do to basically seal the game for me is to get up rocks, to weaken Staraptor on the switch in, and to get some like passive damage off on it in form of a Toxic or the Rocky Helmet, which Everluck packs this week, just to make sure that like my +2 speed Landor I can beat it with like an attack, or my Lopunny can just come in and kill it with a fake out. So yeah, this thing is my main answer to the Staraptor. It won't come in on any other mon besides maybe the Reggies, but even then I cannot really do anything to it. So I probably will have other answers for it. It's also here for my hazard control, because he has like the Galvantula that can set up sticky webs. He has the Nidoqueen that has rocks and toxic spikes. He has Druddigon that can set up rocks. Hazards can be really annoying versus my team, and I want to keep them off my side of the field. I know that Everluck is pretty garbage as a rapid spinner, but with this spread and this build, I can basically spin away hazards on my side from the field versus any mon besides the Ante or like a Bandit Staraptor if I've taken prior damage. Because even after rocks, I live a modest life orb, Earth Power from Nidoqueen for example. I have basically any physical hit, and he needs a lot of investment for like stuff like Miss Mages to hit me with to kill me with a Focus Blast. So yeah, keeping Everluck healthy is pretty much as important as keeping my other Warcore mons healthy, because it has to deal with the Staraptor and it has to keep hazards from my side of my field. If it's only rocks, it's not too bad for me, but I cannot allow him to get sticky webs up versus me. That would just suck tremendously, especially because I run a Gravity set, as you will see later on my Landor Eye, and Gravity would make me hit the ground with my Landor and get hit by the sticky web, which would mean that I probably with my spread won't outspeed a Scarfed Raptor, for example, even after Rock Polish. So yeah, this thing is pretty important and will like, I think it has solid synergy with the rest of my Warcore, and will be pretty important to deal with the Staraptor and get some chip damage off on the physical attackers on my opponent's side. For example, a choice locked Ante, which is like choiced into Extreme Speed or something. It basically does nothing to me, and I can get easy 16% off versus it just by switching it in with the Rocky Helmet. The Toxic is here because I expect him to switch in Among Us on me, and I can't really touch it with anything Everlag gets. Best move I can hit it is Stone Edge, which I don't see a reason to pack this week. So I want to Toxic it, whittle it down, because my team doesn't enjoy Rotom at all. Like, my Among Us can deal with it, and my Lopunny and my Lando Eye, under the right circumstances, can beat it, but some chip damage with the Toxic would always be appreciated, I think. Next up, I have my Cobalion again, packing the Air Balloon, and this thing this week is my main answer to the Excadrill, besides my Among Us, because when you see my team and you see Excadrill, he has no reason not to click Earthquake versus me. So I can easily bring it in on an EQ, probably or hopefully on a Choice Scarfed EQ. Don't get my Air Balloon popped and set up rocks, close combat it, or Volt Switch out if I'm pretty sure he's Choice Scarfed. I packed the Iron Head, Close Combat, and Volt Switch to basically hit anything on his team for neutral damage. Mega DNC gets OCO'd by Iron Head even if it's like a max HP variant. Rotom Wash doesn't really enjoy a close combat if it's not like a physically defensive variant. Staraptor gets like tweet KO'd by Volt Switch. That's like 50 to 60% I believe, even with the Jolly nature, because Staraptor is frail as fuck. Excadrill dies to like close combat, and I basically hit his entire team besides the Galvantula for neutral or super effective damage, which is pretty nice. Also of the rocks, of course, on my Cobalion, because I need rocks up to weaken the Staraptor, as I've already said. The EV spread allows me to outspeed a max speed Mismagius. I don't really want to speed her with the Galvantula because I cannot really touch it, so it doesn't really matter. And I have a plan to prevent webs with other mons, so that shouldn't be a problem. The 52 attack EVs allow me to 2-hit KO max HP but especially defensive Umbreon. I think even if it packs a Chopper Berry, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it does like 39 to 30 to 40% or 35 to 45% with a Chopper Berry, and then over 60 without a Chopper Berry. So I'm pretty sure I can 2-hit KO the Umbreon if it's not max physically defensive and holding a Chopper Berry. The 220 HP EVs are pretty nice too, because they allow me to guarantee live an Adamant, Choice Bandit, Reckless, Brave Bird from Staraptor, and like deal hefty damage back with Close Combat of Volt Switch, which both after possible Stealth Rock damage and Recall damage will probably take Staraptor out. So if Everlag for some reason goes down, I still have a fully healthy Everlag in the back. I can still pretty much deal with the Staraptor, which is kinda nice. Next up I bring my MVP on the team this year. At the moment I think I have 8 kills over 4 weeks, which should lead my team. My Mega Lopunny with a pretty interesting set in my opinion. The spread isn't too crazy because it's like pretty obvious max HP, max attack, sorry. Then enough speed to outspeed his fastest mon, which is the Mega Diancie, and then some bulk here. In Spadef, I think I can live a Moonblast from Diancie with this spread, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to stay in on this thing anyway with my Lopunny unless I'm 100% sure that I can OHKO it back with the high jump kick. This set with the fake out, high jump kick, retaliate, and encore lets me deal basically with his entire team. Retaliate is a pretty nice move, as I've shown last week, to deal like with one of his wards after one of my team members goes down, for example my Everlag or my Landorus Eye. The high jump kick basically hits his entire team besides the Galvantula, but Galvantula is frail as fuck, so I don't really have to deal with it with my Lopunny, and like I can go for 2 high jump kicks and kill it anyway. But the only other thing that likes switching into a high jump kick is like if defensive or bulky offensive Nidoqueen, which I have a lot of answers for on my team, so that's not too much of a threat. I don't really need Retaliate, it's still enough to revenge kill some weakened mons, even if I don't get the boost from losing a team member early. And this thing will probably be my lead early game to scout for items. And with the combination of Fake Out and Encore, I'm guaranteed to beat Mega Diancie early game and to beat Galvantula on early game and to prevent sticky webs, which is really, really important. Because if I Fake Out and Mega Diancie before it Mega Evolves probably will go for Protect, I can Encore it into this and then hit it with the high jump kick or the Retaliate or switch out to whatever I want to. Same with Galvantula. I really expected to bring like a Focus Sash, Sticky Web Galvantula with Bug Thunder and the Protect to like beat my Lopunny lead, but I can Fake Out on his potential Protect and then Encore him into that so that he won't be able to get up webs versus me and have to switch out or like sack his Galvantula to my Lopunny. So I think the combination of Fake Out and Encore is pretty nice, especially if he has stuff like Umbreon that could pack the Wish Protect. I can Encore it into that, even though Umbreon probably won't stay in versus me. I could potentially Encore SD or substitute Excadrill. I could Encore Rotom Wash into like Pain Split if I want to, and Druddigon into Stealth Rock or something like that, which all would be pretty nice. So Encore is a really good move versus his team because he can like get creative with his mons and has a lot of options to set up hazards, for example, and with Toxic Strikes on Nidoqueen too. So I can always Encore him into that and get some momentum back because Encore basically makes some mons useless for quite a while. So yeah, I expect Lopunny to put in a lot of work, and if you look at his team, this thing once Nidoqueen is weakened and once Galvantula is down and probably a Scuffed Staraptor is dealt with, this mon can sweep his entire team. He doesn't like switching into it at all. He probably brings a Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin Druddigon to get damage off of me, but even at 1 HP, this Lopunny can easily deal with this complete roster. So yeah, I expect Lopunny to really show why it's one of the best megas in the format again. The last mon is my Landorus Eye, which I came up with a pretty heat set, but it's a set that is really hard to pull off, and I really need to spawn my Amoonguss and Thunder Wave on my Slowking to be able to pull it off, because I have like two setup moves, the Gravity and the Rock Polish. With the Life Orb, I can easily OHKO anything on his team after Rocks or after Fake Out damage from Lopunny with the Earth Power or the Focus Blast. Gravity helps me to hit every Focus Blast because it boosts accuracy by 30% or something, and it also helps me to put Rotom Wash and Staraptor and Miss Mages on the ground and kill them with the Earth Power. So I really, really need Gravity to be able to hit anything, because Focus Blast, even with the modest Life Orb, Sheer Force boost does not kill stuff like Rotom Wash, for example. And yeah, this set can potentially sweep his team, but I need a lot of help to be able to pull off both Gravity and Rock Polish. The speed is here. I didn't really know what speed I wanted. I thought about like putting enough speed to outspeed Jolly, Scarfed, Staraptor, but I wanted to outspeed some stuff like Max Speed Nidoqueen, which I hit with this speed here, to like possibly set up on them if they are like asleep and haven't burned a turn of sleep yet. So I want to be faster than those and be able to set up a Gravity. Also, if I bring it in on a mon that can't really deal with me, like the Umbreon, for example, or another mon that's asleep, I can like go for the Gravity on a potential Rotom switch, which I expect to be his switch, and if he expects an Earth Power, and then he has a decision to make. Does he sack his Rotom to the Earth Power, or does he switch out? And if he switches out, I get an Earth Power off versus anything I want, as well as being able to potentially predict his switch and go for the Rock Polish, which basically would be the game for me if Rocks are up, because this thing hits like a truck with the Sheer Force Life Orb, and then the boost that Focus Blast and Earth Power get with the combination of those two, and can basically sweep his entire team if I'm able to pull off the Rock Polish Gravity, which isn't that easy, especially if Sticky Webs are up, because gravity then would force my entire team to be at -1 speed, or at +1 if I have a rock polish up, and I don't outspeed everything on his team in that case. So I really have to have a look at when to set up and to figure out when it's time to sweep, and I have to have my rocks up for potential focus sessions on Conventional, for example, and yeah, just to weaken some stuff like Umbreon, which can probably take like 2 Earth Powers, but not a combination of Earth Power and Focus Blast, or not like 2 Stealth Rock switch-ins and Focus Blast, so I don't really worry about that. But like, if I can pull it off, I have basically won the game, so we'll see what happens. But to be honest, I expect my Lopunny to put in more work and get more kills in this game. I'm not that familiar yet with the Landorus, so I really have to play around with it a little to like see the right moments and where to set up and where to just plainly attack. But I'm pretty sure that this thing potentially can put in the work. It was really hard, in my opinion, to come up with a solid spread versus him, because I'm like 99% sure he brings a Scarf Raptor. I wouldn't really need the Rock Polish if I weren't afraid of that, because I outspeed basically his entire team besides the Miss Major, Galvantula, and Mega Diancie, all of which aren't that much of a problem. I can easily beat that core early, and I can like even take a Moonblast from Diancie and revenge kill it back with the Earth Power. So there's that. But like, I think this set gives me the best chance to win the game, even though it's really hard to pull off. So I decided to go with that. I could have gone for like a Choice Scarf variant, but then again, I don't want to be locked into a Rock Slide, for example, after revenge killing the Staraptor, and give him a free switch into a setup mon, or into something that's like Galvantula to get up rocks 100% versus me, because I cannot flinch it with the Rock Slide and stuff like that. I really have to play around versus hazard status, and I don't want to be choice locked into an attack that allows him to get up some setup or get up some hazards. So that's the team for this week. I think I have a very solid matchup if I'm able to deal with the Staraptor and to weaken like stuff like Nidoqueen or Rotom Wash for my Lopunny to sweep. And yeah, let me know what you think about the team. I think it's pretty good, and I think we'll be able to come out on top versus Roshan and the Detroit Solgaleos. But we'll see how it goes. So the match will go up on Sunday, tomorrow, as always. I don't know when yet, because I haven't recorded it yet, but it will go up sometime tomorrow, and yeah, see you then.